Give me a thumbs up. Is this thing on? Is it on? Okay, we're ready? We're ready? Welcome. Welcome to the virtual National Night Out for 2020. Sure been an interesting year. This pandemic has impacted our community in ways we could have never imagined. We're all doing our part by social distancing, but we still want to connect with our NRH residents. The thought of a virtual event isn't nearly as much fun as the in-person National Night Out, but we hope we can all get back together face-to-face in 2021. So let's begin our virtual meeting with the panel that's behind me. We all have a few things to share with all of you. They also welcome questions and look forward to connecting with you. The panel this evening consists of Director of Public Safety, Chief Perdue, Fire Chief Tenney, along with representatives from Patrol, Traffic, Criminal Investigations, Community Resources. So go ahead and start submitting your questions. And let's welcome Chief Perdue to kick this evening off.
Thank you, Gwen, very much, and good evening, everybody. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us on this virtual National Night Out. This is very unusual, not certainly something we've ever done before, but then again, a lot of things about 2020 we've never done before. We have to adapt, but we didn't want to miss an opportunity to connect with the community on this night that it's all about our community. You know, National Night Out has been around for many, many years. It's a time that we get to set aside for coming together in our neighborhoods and in our community and just getting to know each other, talking to each other, sharing some great conversation and some great food. That's probably the thing I'm going to miss more than anything else tonight is at least 2 or 3 pounds of cookies that I get to consume as I go around from place to place. But you know, having the time like that we do here in NRH is really important. It's important that we share our community spirit, the community atmosphere that we have together, and one of that comes from the people here at the city, and specifically the people here in this room from the police and the fire departments. We work very hard every day, the men and women out there on the streets, and the squad cars and fire trucks, to try to provide a great service to you, our citizens. And so tonight, we normally would be going around from neighborhood to neighborhood to talk to you about the things that are going on in your specific neighborhood. Issues you might have, concerns you might be wanting to express to us. But tonight, we're going to get to do this virtually. Hopefully there's a few people that are watching that can ask us some questions, and we'll be glad to try to do all that we can to convey to you about the things that are going on here in North Richland Hills. We have a great panel. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as we get to them individually. But I want to talk for just a minute about the thing that's probably on a lot of people's mind, and that is having to do with our COVID-19 issues. We're certainly, it's certainly the dominant thing within our city, and something that we're taking a great care to make sure that we're providing service to you all and protecting the employees as well as the community. The biggest bulk of that responsibility comes from the fire department, and so rather than trying to explain to you what they do and some of the broad pictures of it, I'm going to let Chief Tenney talk about some of the COVID stuff and some of the other stuff on the fire department. So, Sam?
Thank you, Chief Perdue. I am Stan Tenney. I'm the fire chief here in North Richland Hills, and I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys tonight. As Chief Perdue said, I hate that we're missing the opportunity to see you face to face. But a little bit of an update on COVID and COVID in our community and kind of how it's impacting us and how the fire department especially is responding to that. What I would tell you is, of course, you know, since day one we have worked closely with our regional partners, so we have had a pretty good gauge to measure how our community is doing compared to some of the other areas around us. And what we've learned going through the process is we're susceptible to hotspots. You know, it's going to be like that for a while. It's been like that in the past. So we have to continue to be vigilant in taking all the safety precautions because they do work and they do pay off. We do see those spikes occasionally, and we can usually trace them back to different kinds of events. So we just encourage everybody to continue to do that. As far as in our community, you know, the things that we do that you see different is, of course, when you call 911 and you need help, is some of the questions that are being asked about the 911 operator for us to better prepare to deal with the situation when we arrive on the scene. And those questions are the same ones that you're going to hear, or you are hearing, at the doctor's office, pretty much anywhere you go anymore. And that's, have you been exposed to it, have you run fever, those kind of questions. And it just gives our personnel the opportunity to make preparations before they get there. They also, the protective equipment that is being used is not that much different than what we were doing pre-COVID, but you will see us wearing masks, obviously from the start to the end of the call, which we didn't traditionally do in the past. Eye protection, and we've always worn the gloves and the protective gowns in certain situations. But I would just encourage everybody that to continue to do the things that you know will help prevent the spread. Inform those around you whenever you think you've had an exposure so they take extra precautions, and same way whenever you're needing help. The biggest thing that I would pass on this year to the community is early on in the COVID situation, we had some situations where people were delaying calling 911 for true medical emergencies, and we were seeing the result of that within the area of having a more dramatic effect on poor outcomes for the patient because of the delay in them making the decision to call for 911 service. I always encourage people in the community, when you think you need us, go ahead and call. It does no harm for us to come out. If you decide, hey, I don't need to go to the hospital, I want to be transported by private vehicle, those kind of things, you can consult with the paramedics, make a decision, and then as far as what's best for you. But just do not ever hesitate to call, especially if you're suffering from shortness of breath, chest pain, those type of symptoms. You most definitely want to call 911 and get checked out. Pass on a little bit about the fire department, just kind of those typical National Night Out questions. We staff 5 fire stations within the city of North Richland Hills. We have 24 people on 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We respond 5 fire trucks and 4 ambulances out of those stations. All of them are paramedic capable, so they have AOS capabilities. Whether the fire truck arrives or the ambulance arrives, they can provide the same service to you short of transport you to the hospital. The ambulance is required obviously for that, but a fire truck can provide the same treatment as the ambulance crew. That's the typical questions that we get asked when we come out. We always encourage everybody, if you haven't been to your neighborhood fire station, to stop by. We invite you to come in any time, and we'll give you a tour of the station. Obviously, during the COVID time, we tried to scale back on some of that, but fire station is yours, and you're always welcome there. We never help you with anything in the neighborhood. Make sure you stop by. And with that, I'll pass over to Lieutenant Andrews, and she's going to talk a bit about patrol, I think.
And Melissa, before you go real quick, if I can, I just want to follow back up real quick on the COVID stuff. I'll direct you to 2 things I think might be helpful. One is our city public information officer, Mary, does a great job of providing a lot of information on the city's website about do's and don'ts and suggestions, mask wearing, all those sort of guidelines on the COVID, and also updates on anything that may happen. So I encourage you to go to the city's website and to get that information. And then secondly, there's some specific information on there about Halloween. I know that we've received a lot of questions from the community about Halloween, whether we should do it, should not do it. And again, we're going to leave that up to you from an individual standpoint. But if you choose to do so, there are some individual things that you should be following, some guidelines and rules that'll help you keep the kids safe when they're out and about like that. So just encourage you to go to the city's website, nrhtx.com, and you can link on there for all the COVID and Halloween stuff. So with that, Melissa.
Hi, I'm Melissa Andrews, and I am a lieutenant in patrol. And so I'm here representing our patrol division. And so just a little bit about patrol. We have 2 day shifts and 2 night shifts. So you have 4 different shifts, 24/7 that are on, and each shift is comprised of 1 lieutenant and 2 sergeants, and then our group of officers. And so a lot of times what we get is questions on how do I know what kind of crime is happening around me in my specific neighborhood or just in the city as general. And so what you can do is we have a couple of different ways. And so you can go to the communitycrimemap.com. It's a website where you can go on, and it's kind of like a Google Map feature, and you can search either a specific crime, or you can go to the alerts and you can get notified of the crime happening in the city or a certain area. And you can set it up to be like weekly or monthly, daily if you wanted to. And so it just sends you those alerts of what's happening around you. You can also go to the city website and search beat officers. And if you look on that, whenever you search that, the page that pops up is a map of our city. And our city is broken up into 6 different districts. And so each district has an officer dedicated to the district on each and every shift. And so once you figure out what district you're actually in based off that map, there is a link on there that you can actually email the district officers and supervisors directly. You can ask them specific questions about your district, or you can tell them about something that's happening in our district. We find it very useful whenever you let us know about certain areas that are occurring that maybe we are not aware of. And so we've been able to either solve different crimes because of those tips, or it's led us to just know about certain problems that maybe we weren't aware of before. And so we encourage everyone to get to know your district officers. There's a list of the assigned district officers on every shift. And so you know who exactly is working your beat on every 24/7. And so we like to get to know our community. It's nice to be able to talk to y'all and email with y'all specifically. And other than that, on the community crime map, you can also figure out sex offenders that are living around you and just different stuff that you may want to know. So with that, I'll pass it over to Sergeant Black.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Black. I'm the sergeant over our traffic division. Assigned to me, I have 5 motorcycle officers and 2 accident investigators who are in cars. Obviously, their primary duty is working the accidents that we are dispatched to, that you call in. Our motorcycle officers are responsible for traffic enforcement, working in school zones, working problem areas within the city as far as speeding, stop signs, any kind of traffic violations they are responsible for working. We work most of the week during the rush hours, obviously during your school zones, during school time. Yes, we are out right now. There is school in session. Not near as much traffic as normal, but there is still school zones that are active in the mornings and in the afternoons. Some around lunchtime as well, depending upon when they let their students out. One of the biggest questions we get is, how do I contact the police department, and who do I notify when I have a traffic issue or concern? You can go on the city police department's website. There's a link in order for you to give your information, or you can remain anonymous. Type your concern. Those concerns will come to me, and then I will look into that and address that accordingly. Whether it be deploying our radar trailers, which collects data for us as far as date and time, how many cars are going in a certain area, and also we can deploy the officers if it's deemed necessary to resolve these problems. A lot of times you will see the radar trailers deployed throughout the city. Just because you don't see the big screen display, this is your speed or whatever, doesn't mean that this is not working and it's not turned on. It is collecting data. We find that people tend to play with those trailers when they see their speed. They try to get the high score. And so we try to avoid that and just collect the raw data that we need. You can also call my office. The phone number is on the website as well, and we can discuss any kind of traffic concerns that you have.
Sort of like a question that I get asked sometimes, that we've talked a lot about officer safety, trying to make sure that when the officers are out there conducting traffic stops, trying to keep them safe. Specifically to the people that are watching, and I know we're having emphasis on some of the new laws, or the existing laws, trying to do some enforcement action on it. Can you talk about that just a minute?
Any particular laws in?
Just about, slowing down, moving over for an officer on the side of the road, things like that.
Yes. So it's called the Texas Move Over Law, as everybody likes to refer to it as. Whenever you see an emergency vehicle, this can be a tow truck, this can be a police car, motorcycle, fire department, ambulance, any kind of emergency vehicle that has their emergency lights activated and they're on the side of the road, the law states that you have to move over and vacate the lane right beside them if possible. So on a two-lane road, or on a two-lane road with a shoulder, you have to vacate the lane right beside the shoulder, and then you can travel at the normal speed as long as there's a lane in between the emergency vehicle and you. If there's not a lane where you can vacate, the law states that you have to slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. So that your 30-mile-an-hour typical zone, if you're passing an emergency vehicle on the side of the road with the lights activated, you have to slow down to 10 miles an hour as you're passing that officer. This keeps everybody safe, although you think it's just 30 miles an hour. When you're standing there and a car goes by you at 30 miles an hour, it seems a lot faster than it actually is. So we want to not only keep you safe, keep the person that we have stopped safe, keep the fire department safe, and keep all the equipment safe. We ask that you just slow down or scoot over and you can continue traveling at your normal speeds.
Thank you, Justin. That is something that I know you've probably all seen, and the results of those when people don't scoot over. We've lost several squad cars over the time. Fortunately, we've not lost an officer or a firefighter, but we've had some injuries as a result of those sort of collisions where people aren't paying attention, don't scoot over, run in the back of the lights. And so we just ask that you just be aware of what's going on. Put down your cell phone, pay attention to what you're doing and driving, particularly when you're around emergency vehicles, because there are difficult scenes to control, and there's a lot of lights going on. I know it can be distracting sometimes. That's why if you simply just slow down and move over, that'll provide some additional protection for the emergency responders who are there. So please do that on our behalf, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if I might add on the accidents, trying to keep everybody safe. The big question we get is, when I'm involved in an accident, do I need to move my vehicle out of the roadway, or do I stay where it's at so the officers can determine what happened? The city, the chief, has graciously sent us to a lot of schools to learn how to investigate accidents. We're pretty good at what we do, and we're able to kind of tell the story by talking to you, talking to the other driver, looking at the damage on the vehicles, and determining what happened from there. So the best bet is to get your vehicles out of the roadway, off the roadway, or out of the roadway in a parking lot. That way you are safe, and before we can get there with the emergency vehicles to block the roads, you do not get hit, or your vehicle does not get hit, and we can kind of keep everybody safe. I know it's a flat tire or something else might be wrong with your vehicle. Let's go ahead and move it out of the road, and that way there's no further damage to yours or somebody else's, and at the very worst case, someone else get hurt that was not hurt. So let's get the cars out of the roadway, and we will investigate, kind of do our job and what we've been trained to do in order to determine what actually happened.
Great. Thank you. Before we go to this side of the room, Melissa, I do have a question. You mentioned, you talked about the officers, but we also have some non-sworn uniformed people that are out there helping us. And who are those people? What are their roles? And kind of so people might see them and wonder what they're doing.
So we have two different groups. We have our public service officers, which typically they are in uniform. It's different from ours. They are in marked vehicles, different from ours. And so what they do is they typically take our paper reports. So if there's no suspect on scene, there is typically no fear of danger on a certain call, like maybe a burglary report or fraud or something along those lines, you will see that they will come out and take their report, or they will a lot of times take reports over the phone. They can drop property, they can answer questions, they are very knowledgeable on the law just like we are, and it's just a little different. They can take the paper where we will typically go to the more dangerous type situations. And so it's beneficial for us specifically because it frees up an officer to continue to do the patrolling that we like to do to be preventative, and then also respond to more emergency situations. We also have our awesome volunteer group. We call them our VIPs, and so they're super special to us. You will see them. They have also marked vehicles. It says volunteer on the side. It's very clearly displayed. And so while they're in marked vehicles, they're different from ours. They also are in uniform, different from ours. And so what they do is they help us be the eyes of our city, essentially. And so what they'll do is you'll see them patrolling around. They can do different motor assist type calls or blocking traffic for us. Their cars have yellow lights on them, so it helps with our traffic control. They also, if they see any type of crime while they're patrolling, they don't respond. What they do is they can get on the radio and tell dispatch, and then dispatch will relay that information to us. And so they are also very useful, not only out there on the street to our community and to our officers, but also internally. They do all kinds of different tasks that help us be more efficient.
Great, thank you, I appreciate that. That's a good transition as we go to the person that kind of oversees that, helps coordinate that sort of stuff. Or Community Services, Wayne, why don't you tell me?
Yeah, I'm Wayne McEachran, and I'm a Crime Prevention Officer in the Community Resources Division. And one of our signature programs is the Citizens Police Academy, which leads into the volunteers. So, like Chief Tenney said, our departments are your departments, and we love the opportunity for our citizens to come in and see your police department from this side of the badge, if you will. So it's a 13-week program that we have. We actually have one session right now, and then we'll have another one coming up in the spring. So 13 weeks sounds like a long time. It's only one day a week, and it's 3 hours each week. But we take every facet of the police department and we present it to you. Sometimes it's hands-on, and sometimes it's presentation. But so I mean, if you want to learn about K9 and even our specialized units like traffic, our SWAT, crime scene, everything, we bring everything to you. One of the most important parts of it, I think, is our shoot, don't shoot simulator. So we're able to put you through that and give you, once again, behind the badge, and give you the option to make those decisions of whether you would use less lethal in a situation, or you have to use a lethal option. Or would it just be a de-escalation tactic? So we give you those opportunities to make those split-second decisions in that course, which is really good. So we also have, so once you graduate the Citizens Police Academy, we love for you to come through the Citizens Police Academy first, learn what our philosophies are, and our department meet a lot of our officers, and then you become part of our family, whether you stay and become a volunteer, or we have a Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association as well that you can join. And so, or if you decide to go into the volunteer route, it's not just Lieutenant Andrews talked about the patrol division and how they help out there, but we have, if you come into our lobby and request a report, then you'll see volunteers there. We have them doing numerous projects. We have them up on the highway. We have a big highway maintenance truck where they assist up there as well. So anything in the police department, we have a volunteer that helps out in the program. So maybe you're not inclined to want to go out and be the eyes and ears. Maybe you're more office oriented, but we have those positions for you too. And one great part of that program that Chief Perdue made, specifically that he wanted to do was everybody has a job, so it's not just busy work. You have an actual job in the police department. It's an unpaid job, but so with that being said, whenever you see them either in the lobby or you see them out, please tell them thank you, because they don't just work for us, but they work for you. They're doing this for free, 100% for free, to make this community better and for our police department, for us, and we're just so grateful for that. Some other programs that we have, we do still have the Crime Watch program, and we're still doing those. We're social distancing as we do those. But if you do decide to host one, you can reach out to us. Also want to remind everyone that we do have a vacation watch, so part of crime prevention. If you do decide to go on vacation, you do decide to travel during these times, especially with the holidays coming up, you can go to our website, get on our vacation watch program, and fill out that form. Be sure and tell us if you have animals at your house, or if someone else is going to be coming and visiting your house, so that we know that they're there and they're supposed to be there if you're going to be gone. But that's one thing that we're happy to do. And another program that's specifically special to us, I think, is our Heroes and Helpers program, which will be coming up this Christmas. So it's kind of twofold. It's a police and fire collaboration together, and with our local Target here, who has helped us out for many years now. And so whenever we go into a scene, whether it be police or fire, a lot of times it's somebody's having a really bad day, and it could be even the worst day of their life. And the smaller children see this going on. Could be even a domestic situation where maybe a mother and child have been removed from that situation. And you may have seen a couple days ago, our crime victims liaisons works with them for the 4 different cities. So for North Richland Hills, Watauga, and Haltom City. And then they refer those children to us who need that extra help. And with the donations, it's been totally funded by a little bit, or partly by Target, and a lot from our community as well who donate to that program. So the children will come and they'll pick a police officer or a firefighter to go shop with them, and we'll be able to provide a Christmas for them. So I know this, in this season with a lot of people laid off and stuff, I know that there's a lot of issues, but this year I feel confident that we'll be able to reach our goal again. And in the past we typically take 50 kids, and so I look forward to doing that again.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. In the interest of fair treatment, Stan, y'all also have a citizen educational class as well. You talking about that just a minute?
Yeah, we offer the Citizen Fire Academy. It's very similar to the Citizen Police Academy. We try to expose you to all aspects of the fire service, fire EMS, our prevention division. You get to interact with the crews. You spend a little time riding out on the apparatus, spend some time at the station. But we try to really educate the members of the class so that they're better informed whenever they go out in the community, that they can explain what it is that the fire department actually does. Very successful program. We offer ours once a year. You can go to our website now and sign up for the next class. We can give you the date on it. We've kind of been shuffling dates because of COVID, but we'll get that one going sometime in the spring.
A lot of opportunities to get engaged within the police and fire departments outside of what we're talking about here tonight. So, as we've mentioned many times, you'll hear it again. We want to make sure that we are communicating with you and that you feel welcome here in the City Hall, Police Department, the Fire Department, because we're here to serve you. That's our role, and that's the thing we do very well. One group that does a really good job of serving people, because they're the ones that once the crimes are reported, they have to do the investigation, they have to do the legwork. And so we have somebody here from the detective division. And Gabe, why don't you let you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Gabriel Cespedes. I'm a detective with the Criminal Investigations Division, and we have about a dozen investigators who are the victim of a crime, and reports generated. It'll get assigned to one of us, and we'll do our best to see that case through to a successful resolution. One of the programs that I wanted to talk specifically about tonight is one that y'all can really work with us, is video surveillance. Obviously, that's still one of the best kinds of evidence you can have in a case. And so, you know, everybody nowadays has the Ring doorbells, and there's a program through Ring called the Ring Neighbors program. And that helps y'all communicate with each other about what's going on and also communicate directly with us. We get email alerts, you know, through that app because we're signed up on it, letting us know if you've had an issue, if there was video that y'all had provided, and we can view that as well. And then if we're investigating a crime, and we may also reach out through that Ring program to ask for video that you or any of your neighbors might have that might help us in identifying a suspect. In that same vein, we have our own North Richland Hills program called the Neighborhood Eyes program. And if you go to nrhtx.com, you can, it's a way to register with us and just let us know that you do have a camera, whether it's a Ring, whether it's something else. That way our investigators can just go to that one resource. If we have a crime or, you know, a bunch of crimes in an area and we're looking for leads, it'll help us locate you or your neighbors who may have video, and we can start getting some good evidence. So again, that's at nrhtx.com, it's the Neighborhood Eyes program. So aside from that, obviously one of the common crimes that we get are vehicle burglaries, and we're just still asking that you lock, take, and hide. You know, don't leave anything valuable inside your vehicle. Lock it up. You know, and I know that sometimes you have a bad day, you're in a rush and you forget. It's, you know, we're never going to get down to 0 vehicle burglaries, but if you just do your part, it will make a big difference. A lot of times they're just looking for the path of least resistance, so open doors, I mean, even just locking it should be a common habit. Another thing, due to COVID-19, there's been an uptick in internet fraud and identity theft. And so just to remind everybody, it is not common for the police department of any agency to try to directly collect money from you. A big red flag should be requesting gift cards. That's just not going to happen. So if you get a call like that, you can listen to those red flags, but paying with a gift card is a big one. So spread the word to anybody else who you know in your family who may be getting phone calls like that, or if you hear somebody who did, you know, stop them from going to the store and buying those gift cards and giving that information. So,
I have a question. So Gabe, I wanted to, some people are paranoid, skeptical, have concern with the police department and the Neighborhood Eyes program, and I want to make sure that we clarify, are we, the police department, able to tap into those cameras if they register with us?
absolutely not. It's just, you know, kind of a spreadsheet or a database where we just know who does have a video camera or a surveillance system. And then if we need that video, we have to come to you, you know, the owner of that camera or the system to get that. So it's a cooperative effort, and that's why we're bringing it up here tonight, because that's a good example of the community working with the police department to solve crime in that case, although the cameras are also preventative as well. When people see them, they're less likely to target your house or your vehicle.
We were very blessed here in North Hills by your generosity, the citizens, of having a lot of technology. And one of the things I know that in the news a lot, and you may see a lot, and something that we're actually one of the four leaders is in our drone program. And you know, Melissa, do you feel comfortable to talk about a little bit what that is, kind of what it does, and when we use it?
Sure. And so one of the programs, like you said, is the drone program. We have a drone officer that is assigned, one officer on each of the 4 shifts. And then over the program, we have a drone sergeant and then also a drone lieutenant. And so they've all been certified to be able to fly our aircrafts in the air. And we have observers that watch our drones while they're flying to make sure you know, we have visual eye on them at all times. And some of the reasons why we would use a drone is if we have suspects that have run from us and we're trying to locate those suspects. We will put the drone in the air. It has infrared lights, and we're able to see the heat sensing from that as they're flying. We will not fly it whenever it's raining. We'll use our drones whenever we have SWAT calls to be able to go inside different buildings or residences. We really you'll see the drones whenever we have events again. So they've been very useful for us. They've been a very great benefit. A lot of people, it's kind of one of the new specialized units that a lot of people are excited about, just because it's newer technology. And so we are very fortunate that we were able to afford those different aircrafts that have been really helpful in not only locating people, but just being able to provide more information to our officers.
So we have a total of 4, correct? 2 big and 2 little, is that correct?
That's correct.
So I know, there's some of the fire guys are also trained how to do that, and we're actually looking at maybe getting one specifically for the fire department. In what role would y'all use those drones?
We use them for a few different things. Of course, obviously, they're beneficial for us when we're working like an apartment fire, where the incident commander can see multiple views of the building without having to send people there or leave the command post and go visually look themselves. We use them for things like if we have swiftwater rescues, to be able to see where the location of the victims, the current debris that's in the water, those kind of things. Our EOD team is using drones more now, trying to use more drones more now to get a better visual on packages and those kind of things remotely, so it limits the risk to those officers. Hazmat has several applications for them for the same things, in condition of the vessels that might be damaged in a vehicle accident before approaching it with individuals. So there's many applications for them. Definitely a valuable tool.
And you mentioned the EOD thing. Could you very briefly just explain the NEFTA, so people understand that it's not all our stuff that we share together?
Right. There's an organization called Northeast Fire Department Association, which is 14 fire departments or 14 cities in the area that we're a member of. And out of those 14 cities, we all pay dues, or the cities pay dues to NEFTA. And with that, we equip our bomb team, our swiftwater rescue team, our hazmat team, our technical rescue team. We also have mass casualty capabilities. And what we do with that is along the cities, for instance, Alton City takes care of TRT. Alton City and Grapevine are TRT cities, so they house that equipment. We house no TRT equipment here. We have members that are trained in TRT, but we have no equipment. Within North Richland Hills, we house the bomb truck and the hazmat truck, where the other 14 cities don't. So if they have a bomb call in Grapevine or South Lake or Trophy Club, we respond to that location and take care of the EOD call for them. By the same token, we have no swiftwater capabilities within North Richland Hills, but the swiftwater team is spread out amongst the NEFTA cities. So when we do have a swiftwater rescue within the city, they'll deploy the boats from Euless, Alton City, Grapevine, whoever has those assets, they'll send those here to handle those calls. So what it does for us is it allows us to have a very high level of specialty team response capability without having the cost to go along with that. We share that amongst 14 cities. Very useful, very, very efficient use of the taxpayer dollars.
So do any of the policemen know what a TRT is?
Technical rescue team.
There you go, very good. There's a winner. That one guy's paying attention. So the one thing just related to that before we get to the questions, I think we actually have some, is I want to make sure that following that same shared services in Northeast Tarrant County, here in North Richland Hills, we share our communication center and our detention facility with our contiguous cities of Alton City, Watauga, and Richland Hills. We've been doing this now for 10 years, and it's just like the NEFTA, it's been a great way to create a more streamlined operation, to help provide more assets to the community and provide, frankly, a better service to everybody in all 4 communities. So we're very blessed, very fortunate to have great partners like those cities together to do that. So Gwen, back to you.
Okay, so the first question that we have would be for community resources. And do we have a way to dispose of medicine?
Actually, we do, and it's 24 hours and 7 days a week. So, you know, the DEA Take Back, you know, is popular and it's twice a year. But if you come to North Richland Hills on the jail side of our building, so very far side next to the gates where employees enter, there's a doorway there, and right inside there is a metal box. It's kind of like a little green mailbox in there, and you can dispose of all of your unused medication in there. So if you inherited some or some that has expired on you, it's a great way to get rid of it. And you don't want it sitting in your cabinets where it's accessible, for other people to get a hold of it. So yeah, it's a great question.
Certainly don't flush it down.
Yeah, don't flush it. Don't just bring it to us, and they incinerate it. Actually, so we get rid of it.
Wonderful. Okay, so this one's going to be for our detectives. How are the cases assigned to each detective?
Well, our criminal investigation division is split up fairly close to evenly between crimes against person detectives and crimes against property detectives. So when the cases come out for assignment, they look at who's there and then what's your role, and the sergeants will assign out the cases, kind of try to evenly distribute them so that we can give every case the attention it deserves.
Awesome. This one's going to be for our traffic division. How many motor officers do you have?
We are slotted for 6, 7 including myself, and currently we have 5, 6 including myself.
Awesome. Okay, so this one's going to be for the fire chief. Are there any girl firefighters?
There are. We actually have 5 as far as firefighters. We've got a new emergency management coordinator hired that is also a female. We're excited to have her start with us soon. So, but yeah, it's within NEFTA, as we talked about before. You know, we're happy to say that we have percentage-wise, we have the highest percentage of female firefighters that we know within NEFTA.
Awesome. We have another question for you, Chief Timmy. How many stories do the ladder truck go up?
Well, it's a 105-foot ladder, and it depends on how close we can get to the building. But effectively, 8 stories if we were to climb in a window is kind of the rule of thumb.
Awesome. Chief Purdue, I think we're going to put this one, directed it towards you. Are there officers still in the schools?
Yes, we still have officers, school resource officers assigned to both the high schools, both Burtonville and Richland High School. And then we also have additional officers that split their time at the middle schools. So we've had a program now and a great partnership with BISD for many, many years, and hope plan on that continuing for many more to come. So it's a great program, a great way to relate back with the students and the officers. There's also some programs through that we've developed, particularly at Bechtel, to train people to do. You actually can take classes and become a communication operator or a dispatcher. You also can be trained to become a detention officer. You can actually go through the fire portion of that at Bechtel and come out of there with fire certification. So there are 3 careers that you can come out of high school with certification and go to work on day 1.
Wonderful. Okay, Lieutenant Andrews, this is going to be for you. Does the police department ever close?
Never. We never close. We are here all the time, so you can't get rid of us.
All the time. Actually, Chief Purdue, if you don't mind, this next question can also be directed towards you. Can you tell them a little bit about the courtesy truck that the volunteers have?
So certainly, as we mentioned, the volunteers are our eyes and ears of the community. They come in and donate their time. And one of the programs that we have is a truck that we received through the TxDOT grant in order to help try to make the highway safer. And one of the ways to do that is kind of goes back to one of the things that Sergeant Black talked about is getting vehicles or abandoned vehicles or stalled vehicles off the roadway. And so we were able to use that grant money to purchase this large, it's a pickup, it's a large pickup truck with a lot of arrow board signs, cones, flares, and our volunteers drive that truck around and identify stalled vehicles, people being run out of gas, in different areas all along the highways. And they do get off into some of the residential streets as well, but they try to spend most of their time on the highway or up and down Davis Boulevard or some of the major arterial roads. So that's their primary function. And then one of the other side benefits to us is that if there were to be an accident, particularly on the freeway, the truck can show up there with all its lights and block, really to protect the police cars and the fire trucks from anybody coming up the roadway. So they are a great asset. They do a great job, and just frankly do it for free. So we bought the truck for free from the state grant, and that time we get from the volunteers are free. So it's a pretty good return on investment.
Wonderful. All right, so this is actually posed to both chiefs. Do we have canine dogs? And this is directed toward the fire department. Do you have a Dalmatian?
We don't have any Dalmatians.
Okay.
We have, on the fire side, we don't have any canines.
So we have two canine officers that they've been around now for several years. One of them is actually fixing to retire, so we're going to be looking to replace him, and I'm looking forward to new steps on that. But the canine do a great job. They work in narcotic detection, they work in tracking, they work in apprehension, and they're just a pretty good device that we use in all sorts of different aspects out of patrol, and then as well as the officers that the handlers. There's canine officers and canine handlers are actually out on patrol, so they're just as likely to be out doing traffic stops and answering calls as any of the other officers.
Good information. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is going to go back to our community resources. How would one make a donation to Heroes and Helpers?
You can contact either Officer Kashiki or myself in the office. That information will be coming out shortly anyway. So watch the Facebook. We'll put out those little opportunities out on Facebook for you to do that. And actually, we'll put that out real soon. Get prepared for that.
Wonderful. Okay, I think we have one more question, and I will present this to Lieutenant Andrews or Chief Purdue. I've often seen officers on the bike trails riding bicycles. Is that something that we normally see, or is this something that only happens during the summer?
So we do have a bike unit. Our bike unit is comprised of many different officers in various different divisions across the department. And so specifically in patrol, you'll see that if they are going to be riding their bike for the day or plan to ride their bike for the day, they have a different uniform than our normal patrol uniform. They typically will wear a shirt that is a lighter blue color. They will have their bikes hooked to the back of their cars. And so how we go about doing that is we have to do time management. And so if we are slow on calls and they have time to be able to take their bike off and go ride the trails or ride different areas with high traffic, then we allow them to do that. And if we are just really busy and we have a high call volume, then they don't get to ride as much as they would like. And so not only are our officers on the bike unit, but we also have our volunteers that are also qualified to ride bikes as well. So say that we have a high call volume, you'll see our volunteers out riding their bikes on the trails and high traffic areas whenever we aren't able to do so because we're responding to calls. So it's a good community way to connect to our community. We do different bike rides. The mayor bike rides are not only do our bike officers participate, but also our volunteers. And so they get a lot of enjoyment out of it. You'll see them at events. They're all over the place.
Fantastic.
So Glenn, can I real quick back on the Heroes and Helpers, because I know that we get phone calls in the chief's office all the time about people wanting to make a donation in some measure, or just how do they participate in the police department? How do they give back a little bit? First of all, my thanks to the community for wanting to do that. It's a nice problem to have. We've changed some of the rules relative to COVID, and we don't take as many of the home cooked goods that we used to. Hopefully that'll come back, and we'll let you know when, because we want those cookies to come back again. But there's a lot of prepackaged foods that people bring. A lot of our community churches and neighborhood groups donate stuff all the time. One of the things we get that we love, we get cards and letters from kids, from elementary schools, from people at home. And so all those things that you show your love and appreciation for the police officers and the firefighters as well, we appreciate that very much and want you to know that. If you wanted to make a monetary donation, there are many different organizations and groups and programs within the police department that you can choose to direct those funds to. I'm not going to, if I try to list them all, I'll forget, but we have a list of those that if you're interested, we'll be glad to let us know. We'll be glad to send that to you. Be glad to have you able to participate in there. And then one other plug is we also have a police foundation that raises money to help officers and other employees if they have a critical incident. So there's a lot of opportunities for the citizens to get involved. You just let us know what your interest is, and we'll get you plugged in.
We're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. Does the panel have any final remarks that they would like to add this evening?
So many of your council members are on. They said hello and thank you for doing this. They appreciate it. Sorry we couldn't all be together.
Hello, council.
Hello, yes. Cespedes, your family says hi.
Hi there.
Dustin Black, your boy says hello and he loves you. And we had a question about how to grow a mustache like that. So if you could write a blog on that later, that'd be great.
But I'll let you know that. So.
Well, guys, that's a wrap. I appreciate our panel showing up today and wearing their masks, but we social distance them for safety. So we hope you enjoyed your virtual National Night Out event. It's a pleasure to have this wonderful community. Your police department works with you. And to keep things safe, we want to keep this community as strong